Greetings, everyone. P. Pardo here from Comic Book Geezers. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Cover. We're going independent today, and of course, alongside me, as always,
hello, comic book fans. Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Geezers. We're going to go inside the cover with Dracula-Vlad the Impaler, Topps Baseball Card Company, doing a comic book.
Wild Bill's bringing you the true story, or so it says, right? 1993, right?
I'm going to wing it.
Gonna wing it, right? But look here, a familiar face, Roy Thomas, or a familiar name, and Esteban Maroto. So Roy Thomas, of course, many years with Marvel. Esteban Maroto doing the artwork in this particular episode, or this issue. God, that's you usually do that. Well, that's the first
episode
time
issue.
Same thing here on YouTube, I guess. Right?
Episode meaning Comic Book Geezers.
That's right.
So we got an independent comic.
Yes.
Here for you,
Issue
independent
number
comic
one.
fans. Yes, issue number 1. I bought this off the rack. Actually, I bought this from the Upper Deck in my hometown, Peekskill, New York. 1993,
February, right?
Yes. There was an elderly couple that owned a baseball card comic shop. I started going to them in 88. And in 1993, the movie Dracula was coming out. Francis Ford Coppola's remake of the classic 1930 Dracula with Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi, right?
Boris.
They're so intertwined, right?
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, when I saw this, and they didn't bring it, this is a 3-issue run, and this book is sealed in a plastic bag, and I was like, ooh, sealed in a plastic bag, got to be worth something someday. So I bought 2 issues. I have 2 issues of number 1. But what appealed to me, it was Topps Baseball Card Company. I had never seen them do comic books.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, you're going into a new venture and you're sealing it in a plastic bag? It's got to be good. So let me buy a second issue of number 1.
So is the other issue still sealed?
Correct.
So the other issue still has 1993 air on the inside.
Yeah. And so does
you see a Tranquility Watchers, you know what I'm referencing there. I'm not going to say anymore. So Sal, you know what we're talking about here.
I have no fucking clue, but I'm going to...
It's a Chris Allo thing. You know, all right, so I'll give
I know Chris Allo.
Right, so Chris Allo has talked a few times on Sea of Tranquility of buying exactly what you just said, but he would buy like LPs, like albums.
Sealed?
He would buy 2 copies. One he would not open,
and one he would listen to.
So he has gone on record saying, well, I bought that copy in 1997, and it still has 1997 air on the inside because I never opened it. So that's
well, I could say the same thing for issues 2 and 3.
Okay. Oh, so you do have all 3. Okay, cool.
I do.
Okay, cool.
But I bought 2 and 3 later on in life, after 2016 when I started recollecting.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
And I haven't opened them. I thought they'd be worth something, but they're not. But I'm not opening them. They're like a sealed sarcophagus. So anyway, I'll move on.
You never know. You open them, man. The curse of the Vlad
the
Impaler is coming
out. The curse of the wood. So inside, you've got major players from Marvel past working on this book.
Yeah, Roy and John Costanza, right there. You know,
yeah.
I'm not familiar with Esteban Maroto, but
neither am I. But Esteban can draw.
Oh yeah,
as you can see.
Yeah.
I Am Dracula. Great artwork, man. Really good.
I like this, like shiny, like.
Gloss figures, 1993.
Yeah,
right?
It's pretty. Bright red. It's like really stands out when you open the book.
But I thought this was revolutionary at the time. Topps Comic Books trying to jump into the Topps Comic Books. Listen to me, Topps Baseball Card Company jumping into comic books. I thought this was like, wow.
And didn't they do a bunch of the other movie adaptations? Didn't they do like the Frankenstein one
later on?
Right?
Didn't I hook you up with that?
Yeah.
The De Niro movie.
And didn't they also do
Mary Shelley Frankenstein?
Were they the ones that did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre also?
I'm not sure, but they did venture into comic books, and it was like, wow.
It was mostly movie stuff they were doing, I think.
They used to do. Are they the ones that did Wacky Packages? I don't
I
know.
don't remember.
I put my money down. That
Yeah, they did. No, you're right. You're right.
So they were always doing baseball cards and other kinds of cards. They were in the card business.
Card business. Yeah.
So to see them jump into comic books after being in business for 30 some odd years,
And delivering quality stuff, right?
and I was like, let me try it. I like Dracula, so I thought, what the hell? And when I bought the second issue, as you see here, I was impressed with the artwork. But man, there's a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
32 pages, no ads.
No ads.
$2.95 was the cover stand price. But so this book is almost like a prequel, almost like an origin story of Vlad the Impaler. And as you know, in real history time, this book takes place in 1431. Vlad the Impaler was a real dude, and he impaled his victims. Actually, it was a spike up the ass.
Ouch.
And it was a slow, painful death.
Ouch.
And he used to sit there and eat dinner and watch them. And then one day, this is true, one day one of his servants was repulsed as he served dinner to Vlad the Impaler. And Vlad was watching his victims suffer on these spikes. And the servant was repulsed. And Vlad had his servant executed for being repulsed.
If you can't sit through this like me, you're going to
suffer piss and moan. You're going to die like them.
Yeah.
Vlad the Impaler in real life history was a ruthless person. So
not a vampire, but
his name was Dracula in real life. So Roy Thomas does a marvelous job with this, and not to burst your bubble, I'm not going to do such a great job. I'm going to wing through this motherfucker for you, all right? Bear with me. So you got
this reads like a novel, basically.
It's a lot of dialogue, gang. But you have Vlad, the father. And he's a military governor of Transylvania, and he's Prince of Wallachia, which I guess is a province within the Baltic state of Transylvania. And he's also the dragon. And he has 3 sons. And his third son, Vlad III, is the youngest son who eventually becomes Dracula. But they used to call him Dracul.
Dracul.
They dropped off the A at the end. Fantastic artwork.
Yeah.
So in this story, down here by my fingers is Vlad III, an infant. And it's a flashback up here where the father is holding the crest of the dragon, saying to his infant son that you will one day be Prince of Wallachia, of Transylvania. You're going to take over my throne. He has 2 older sons, but this is a flashback, and Vlad III is an infant, and he's like, yeah, I remember those days. I remember this.
Well, how much do you remember when you were like 2?
Not a lot.
Nothing.
I do remember some things.
Some things, but not like
I
1 or 2.
My grandfather.
Not when I was in my diapers. It's like
I remember my grandfather when I was like 2 years old. When I was my grandfather from Philly. It's weird. Certain things do stick out in your mind.
Yeah,
hard to believe, but certain things you can remember. Not everything. So in this story, Vlad, the father, the military governor, is ruthless, rules with an iron fist. And one day, right here, you know how it is when you have a dictator and you badmouth him? You get hung.
Yeah. Keep your mouth shut.
So, his young son is walking by and sees this, and the father's like, this is good for him, He's going to need to learn about this stuff. And so, of course, the regular populace is in fear, right? But you always have those people that will
mumble under their breath, so to speak, right?
And that's what's going on right here with this. This guy right here mumbles, hey, that guy wasn't so smart to open his mouth, but he's basically said what everyone
Whatever
thinks
we
and
all
feels.
think. Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
And little Vlad, the son,
Heard him.
overhears it. I get my fingers right with this camera angle. So the son's like, hey, Dad, this guy supports the traitor. And so the father says to him, oh, is that really how you feel? And the
Calls
guy's like,
him out. The guy backpedals.
the guy's
That's not really what I meant to say.
I was just saying that he wasn't wise to say what he said. He wasn't.
Guess
wasn't
what happens
smart.
next, right?
And Vlad says, you know what, you bumbling buffoon, your staggering comments, your staggering, stumbling
Off
words
with your head.
aggravates the shit out of me. I'm gonna cut your head off.
And that's what he
And
does.
the blood spills on one of his son's faces.
Yep.
So you got this bloody-faced kid over here, right? And I think the first son's name was Mercia.
Mercia, yeah.
Mercia.
Yeah.
And he would have been next to inherit the throne. So down here, you got the dead corpse of the guy who just got his head cut off. But the father is like, it's time to take little Vlad out on an adventure to see what it's like to be a leader. He needs to get toughened up. We got to toughen up this kid, just like in Goodfellas. You wasted 8 fucking aprons on this guy. We got to toughen up this kid. So he takes the son out into the real world of what it's like to be a leader. But the father is such a hard ass with the populace. But of course, what's going to happen? You're going to develop enemies, right?
Yeah.
So eventually, fate catches up with the father. People gang up on the father. And eventually, the father and the son, the oldest, they get killed. In fact, here's the oldest son being buried alive. He was buried alive. The father tries to escape into the marshlands, but the rebels catch up with him and they kill the father. So later on in this book, what happens is little Vlad the III grows up, and of course he wants revenge for his father's death, and his other brother is also murdered.
He's all by himself. So Vlad Dracula is going to get his revenge.
Yeah, the third son, Vlad the III, Dracula, who eventually becomes Dracula. Warrior spirit with the sword. There was this particular sword and that dragon crest that I showed earlier are part of the lineage of being the leader of that state of Wallachia. Great artwork, but as you can see, a ton of dialogue.
Yeah.
Ton of dialogue.
And backstory. And
No ads.
No.
I ain't got time to take a breather.
This is a perfect example of one of those comics because there are no ads and so much dialogue. This is a half-hour read, as
At
opposed
least.
to some of those comics you buy today, where like in 5 minutes you're
This is
done.
easily a 45-minute read.
Yeah.
32 full pages.
Yeah.
So now we come to a scene in the book where Vlad III confronts his father's killer. And in this page is right here, the killer is taunting Vlad III and telling him how his father suffered and how his brother was buried alive. And of course,
Let's just
They're
add,
both
add
in-
more salt to the
they're
wound, right?
both in a bring it on state,
Yeah.
right? But Vlad wins and stabs his opponent through the face.
Right in the freaking mouth.
Right? So there he stands triumphantly. And
Cuts the head
now
off, yep.
he's ruined his competition. Right? He's wiped out his competition and he stands triumphantly. He is now the rightful ruler of Wallachia, of Transylvania. He's the new prince. He's the new military governor of Transylvania.
So perish all enemies of Vlad Dracula.
Yeah. But the artwork is astounding.
Yeah, quite good.
It's just, and I'd never heard of this guy until I bought this book.
No, me either.
I don't know who he's worked with before. I don't care. It's just really, really good artwork. And I thought Topps did a great job picking him. But, I mean, the colors pop in this book.
You know what else is great about it? He gives that sense of the fact that he's drawing a literary character and story here, because that's what this is. And you get that from, it's not just like regular comic book, comic strip type artwork. This is very much like an adaptation of a literary character, and I can totally appreciate that.
Now, I've never read the original Dracula story from Bram Stoker. Is that how you say his last name? Stoker?
Yep. Stoker, yeah.
I've never read it, but I would take this as a prequel to the original story.
For sure. Yeah.
So we get a foundation, an origin story of Dracula himself.
Yeah.
I never knew he had two older brothers or a father who was the ruler. So he's born into this monarchy, so to speak, of an iron fist. But Vlad the Impaler was a true person, and this might mirror the true story of that character, that original person. I shouldn't say character, but he is a character in this comic. But it gives you an insight to Dracula that we've never seen before. And I just love this comic with the colors in the book. Here he is again, holding somebody up by his throat. How dare you question me? But he's not a vampire yet.
No.
What does he say there?
Let us depart. Yeah, this is a great last page here.
Let us depart.
Got all these people who are impaled, right? This whole...
Yeah. I mean, just phenomenal artwork.
Yeah.
And then we find out on this page that Jack Kirby is back.
Yeah.
And look at all these titles. Kirby Chrome. Bombast.
Captain Glory. Satan 6. The Secret City. This is Jack Kirby's Secret City Saga.
And Night Glider.
Yeah.
And these are all, if you read the fine print, these are all Marvel guys who jumped ship in the early 90s when Marvel was slipping away.
Yeah, so if again, whether you can see it or not, but you got Steve Ditko's listed here, Roy Thomas, Gary Frederick, Dick Ayers,
Jerry Conway,
right? So these are all guys. Joe Sinnott's here as well, Terry Austin. I mean, these are all guys who used to work, or either were still working or were at the time in 1993, worked for Marvel previously, who were coming over the Topps. Yeah,
a lot of big players left Marvel to work with these independent companies because it started to be rewarded financially better.
Yeah.
And Topps recruited Jack Kirby, Roy Thomas. I mean, it's just phenomenal. So you got a little more blah 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 in the back for you, and Jurassic Park was coming out in 1994, so we might as well tell you about it in 1993.
That's right.
And of course, the last page, they're plugging the second issue that's coming out. But it also came out at the same time that Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula remake of the original 1930 classic. So this coincided with the movie.
Yeah.
So I think a very good marketing scheme, and there's more marketing ploys. I'll call them trading cards. Here, hold those two for me as I pick up the one I dropped. Thank you.
So here we go. So these are double-sided, which we're going to show you the other sides in a minute, but let's first do the one side. So these are...
all referencing to the comic itself.
Turn it upside down.
Upside down?
Yeah,
I got it upside down?
Yeah, you do.
So what?
So these sides pertaining to the actual Vlad the Impaler comic that we just showed you, right? Or feature issues, which is pretty
I guess
cool.
we should switcheroo. I'll take... Here, you take that one, I'll take this one. Now, flip them around. Look what's... this one goes in the middle, right? I think?
No. Goes on your side. There we go. Bingo. All right, there we go.
Now we have a puzzle.
Okay.
And I guarantee if you take the other 6 cards from the other 2 books, you're going to get a little pretty picture.
So this basically, as you can imagine, or as you can see, that's a Jack Kirby illustration right there.
Yeah, it's Kirby artwork.
So, you know, what this character is, or characters, I should say, we don't really know because I haven't read any of those.
Looks like an X-Men.
And
And the face a little bit. I'm just
So
saying.
you got these green creatures over here, which is total classic Kirby, and then
Like
you
a
know,
gargoyle.
yeah, and this guy totally—he's got the Kirby jaw, and you know
He might be a Vlad character. He definitely has a vampire look to him. Has he got a little necklace under his neck that you think? Yeah, right. Got a little necklace,
guess,
a little red baron, the red line,
Yeah.
like the royal ribbon across his chest.
So who he is, I don't know. Let me just take a quick peek back in here. So he doesn't,
Yeah, that's from you.
you know, unless it's someone from the Satan Six. I don't know if it has to do with this, you know, the Secret City saga here. I really don't know.
It's funny when you show him on the other side, it doesn't really.
Yeah,
make a
nothing matches.
difference.
Yeah, nothing matches there.
But they gave you 3 trading cards with a comic book, which was something different at the time.
yeah, it was a '90s thing, right? I mean, there was-
1993.
Yeah.
It was a Topps thing because they
were a
were
card
still,
company, yeah.
They were a card company, so they gave you cards with the comics.
Oops,
Yeah, that's all right.
Tala's got that one.
Anyway, there's a loose depiction of Vlad the Impaler, Dracula, the true story.
True story.
Issue number 1. Roy Thomas and
Esteban Maroto.
thank you. So there you have it. But I think the colors pop on it, and it's still affordable to this very day.
Yeah.
I always thought it would be worth something, so I bought a second one, but I guess I could take them all out of the bag, but I haven't touched 2 or 3.
You don't want to preserve that 1993 era?
I know I'm preserving 2 and 3. I have 3 bagged issues. 1, 2, and 3, all bagged. Not to be opened ever.
Ever.
So you're never going to see number 2 or 3. You might see them.
You might see the cover.
I might show you the covers. Same artist. I mean, I hope you like the artwork. Yeah, something different. For you
Yeah.
guys crying for independent comics, there you have it.
There you go. There you
Hope
go.
I delivered.
Yes.
Anyway, as always, we thank you for being here. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please click the like button and share this comic with your friends that like comics but don't know about us. That'd be a big lift, a big boost for us. As always, we thank you for your support. We thank you for being here. We thank you for your comments. And as always, keep coming back if you like comics because we'll be here with more stuff.
That's right. That's
I'm
right.
Wild Bill saying thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on Comic Book Easers. Take care.
Pete. Cheers, everybody.
Take care.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.